Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 513
513.
of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We're talking almost all about Fort Wilderness today, although we're adding in just a little EPCOT. If you're looking to stay, especially at those new cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness, they're not all changed over yet, but you can head to MEI and Mouse Fan Travel and fill out a no obligation quote and talk to them about staying there.
And they look really great. We'll talk about that
Yes.
a lot more. But you're right. Check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. As you mentioned before, we also are going to talk a little bit about EPCOT. We're starting the show here. This was yesterday for the 4th of July Independence Day.
And we actually met our friend Axel, who used to be curious. Axel.
He still is curious.
Is he still curious?
Yeah, I think he is.
So, but anyway, it was nice to see him. And then we went to go see the characters. First thing in the morning, they get very busy. And here they come, and it's Pluto, Goofy, Mickey. The characters are the same as the last number of years.
Last few years. They used to have a different setup. They had, remember, Ben Franklin used to come, and they'd have Betsy Ross inside. This is going back about 10 years. But I do enjoy this every Independence Day. It's nice to see the characters in their patriotic best, as they say. Also, they have the Voices of Liberty that perform. We didn't get a chance to see them because they came out a little bit later.
And we had already left the area by that time.
But yeah, this was great. I highly recommend, though, the earlier the better, because I mean, you had mentioned before it was right around opening. I think the characters came out about 9:15, and they were supposed to be out until 4, and it got hot. I mean, yesterday was a record heat day. I think it was feels like 108 or something like that.
Or 110 or something. It was even at 9 a.m., it was super hot.
Right.
So surprisingly so.
For future years, if it's still like this, we recommend the earlier the better to meet the characters. But again, they were a lot of fun. They had a photo pass. We got some pictures. And now we're going to see some other characters as these guys walk away. It's going to be Chip and Dale also in their patriotic finery.
Well, Chip and Dale are in a different location this year. They're over by, or were over, it was just for one day, by American Gardens Theater. So totally different location, a little nice shade for them.
And they're more in view, and this line gets much bigger, I think, because where they had them in previous years, they were kind of down that little area where you have the surprise character, sometimes right by the American Adventure between that and Italy.
But I don't know that it would be any shorter at this time, because I think everybody who's in line for all of them knew to be here at this time.
Right.
So, because usually World Showcase in this area is it's not busy at all. So the only busy part was seeing the characters.
But they're a lot of fun, and we're going to talk about Chip and Dale a little bit later also when we get to Fort Wilderness. But it was nice to see them. Only happens once a year. So I'm so glad that we get out and see the patriotic characters.
And Axel.
Especially Axel. We hadn't seen him in a number of months, so it was really nice to get together. And we saw some other friends, too, yesterday. So that was what made it extra special. Here we are. It's at Fort Wilderness.
We've left EPCOT.
Yes, we have left EPCOT. We're at Fort Wilderness, Pioneer Hall. Denise wanted to try something new at Pioneer Hall. Why don't you say what that was?
It's a Settlement Skillet, and it's new since the last time we dined here.
There it is.
So it's $17.99 fried chicken, which is, they show the little tiny chicken, whatever.
Yeah, you get a very small piece of fried chicken.
And that's exactly what it looked like, was this tiny. I do not eat any of the meats, so the fried chicken, I don't eat dark meat chicken.
You have chicken, you have ribs, and you have
pulled pork.
Pulled pork.
And then mashed potatoes, cowboy beans,
and there's
cornbread.
Those cowboy beans right there.
I always like their mashed potatoes. I don't think the cowboy beans are as good as they were like a couple years ago. And we also ordered a side of coleslaw. And
I think that was only around $3.
And like $3.99.
Oh, $4.
So
okay.
It was plenty for us. Like, this was plenty for us, especially you had all that meat and such. And I just want to mention, like, they no longer have that Lone Rider. You know, remember the 2 pieces of chicken? They don't have that anymore. The prices went up on the some things have changed and some prices have gone up. So just like always.
So the main reason we were at Disney's Fort Wilderness yesterday on the 4th of July was the 4th of July golf cart parade. We enjoy this every year. We have Dumbo in his tent here in one of the carts. These are almost all of these are campers that design their own cart displays. And just like Christmas and Halloween, we love the golf cart parades at Fort Wilderness.
And so there are some official
That's
carts
why I
as
said
well,
most.
Right. That's why it's most. I like this Uncle Sam
Uncle
cart.
Sam, great, nice giant hat there, very, very nice.
And so we have been filming and photographing the golf cart parades since 2010. So this is our 15th year. If there was no COVID stop,
right,
it would have been the 15th year. You know, I was looking at our 2018 golf cart parade. I mean, you had the Main Street Philharmonic. You had like 6 or 8 characters.
Yeah, by 2018, it was really, really building to be almost like an official type parades, you know, with all the bonus things. Mm-hmm. But of course, after COVID, things got pushed back a little bit. Maybe we'll work towards that in the future, I hope.
But 2019, I don't think was as good as 2018 either. So like it really peaked in 2018, but it's still the camps, I guess, when I look back at like 10 years ago. Oh, right. That is Sam.
Eagle.
Yes.
I'm wearing his shirt as we record today.
When I look back at our first 4th of July golf cart parade video, I mean, the campers didn't decorate to the extent they do now. They really do a great job at putting all this patriotic bunting and characters and such on there.
I like that one, Mickey for President.
Yes,
very
I thought
nice.
That was very good.
And it looks like there was a fighter jet. And this is your favorite.
This is my favorite.
It's the countdown to Halloween.
And you have the Scream characters in like masks, patriotic masks. But my favorite is Michael Myers.
Yes, every year.
From Halloween. So I've never even seen Scream, but I have seen Halloween. I love it. So then you have there's Tim Tracker.
Yep. We're hanging out with our friend Tim. And it was funny because so many people in the parade, the campers, would recognize him and they yell out, "Hey, Tim Tracker." So if you do watch we're going to link to our video. And if you do watch it, there's many moments of screaming, which we got a big kick out of.
Yeah, I did. I thought that was fun.
So now this is a different day. Disney had us out on the 1st of July to check out the DVC cabins, the new cabins. And we actually had a full day of activity, and here we are in Pioneer Hall, and we have some characters up on stage, kind of reminiscent of the Hoop-Dee-Doo.
Well, it's a Pioneer Hall players.
Right, the same ones from the Hoop-Dee-Doo.
And so we were there to preview the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness, although it was the first day that they were opening. So I don't want to say preview necessarily, but we got to photograph them and do some other fun stuff. And there are Chip and Dale as well.
And these outfits that you see Chip and Dale in are not their everyday. They're kind of special outfits, we were told, and they kind of like their cowboy outfits.
Well, they used to wear these in Liberty Square in the Magic Kingdom.
That's right.
Although I think they had hats at the time.
They did. They had the cowboy hats, I remember. But I like how it has the Chip and Dale on the back of their vest, so we got a kick out of that. Always, we always love the characters, and we just saw them yesterday, of course, in their patriotic. Oh, there he is. And Mr. Rhino there was on our fishing excursion. We'll see that a little later.
And so we met Chip and Dale, so, the line wasn't too long.
And Denise says, "We want to see your Chip and Dale vests." And, of course, they were happy to show us that.
It's been quite a while since we've seen them in these costumes. We have seen them at Fort Wilderness in, like, their vampire.
Oh, on Halloween time.
Yeah, on Halloween, like, those type of costumes and such. But not these ones. Not in a long time.
So it was a really fun day. Again, all sorts of activities, and I believe we're about to go. So they provided us with a golf cart for the day. So we are now driving our golf cart to the first stop of the day, which was to check out the new cabins.
And really, it was just for transportation. I wish we could have done it even a little longer. I loved having the golf cart.
Yeah, the golf cart was so much fun.
But it was like drive to here, drive to here, drive to here. But now I wish maybe we could have taken.
Too bad we didn't get lost. We could have got lost and driven around for a while.
We actually could have. So there's a little bit of decorations at Fort Wilderness. Not a ton for the 4th. This
certainly
is not like
Halloween, right?
Or like Christmas. Those are the times really to come here and go look at decorations. We are now in the 2500 loop. There are not too many cabins open yet. I think it was just like one loop.
It was just this loop as of now, yeah.
But there are other loops that it doesn't look like it'll be that long until more cabins open. So this is 2533. We had access to 3 cabins.
And we're mostly going to see 2533, but there were a few shots that I was able to get better in some of the others. So we'll mix those, sprinkle them in a little bit.
And this deck it looks really nice. And what you won't smell is the new cabin smells.
I thought
it smelled really
nice
in there. So the inspiration for the cabin is the Tri-Circle D Ranch. So it has, we'll look closer at that.
The chandelier.
Right, the horse-themed chandelier. But we're just sort of having kind of an overview at the moment in the main area.
And you can see as far as the curtain, also very much Tri-Circle D. You have that fence, like how the horses are. It all made sense when we were explained by the Imagineer. And we're just, again, taking a first look. I like the classic greetings from Fort Wilderness. This is actually a Murphy bed, and later on we're going to demonstrate that coming down and seeing a little surprise beneath it.
And just like any other deluxe DVC room, like a 1-bedroom, you do get a fully equipped kitchen. A couple things you don't get would be a washer and dryer, and there also isn't like a Whirlpool tub I don't think there's any tub.
But you are getting this awesome Hidden Mickey burner set here, which is spectacular. I would love it here at the house.
But you wouldn't let me cook on it,
so it would make protection.
No sense.
There's ways to protect that acrylic on the top, so we could make that happen. Some glass covering somehow.
So I think we're just sort of taking another look in
here. We're
going
to get a closer look at that chandelier you mentioned.
Oh, right. Okay. So the chandelier has stirrups on top, and then the belt buckles, again, and that's created for Fort Wilderness. And then you have on the curtain Chip and Dale, and they're holding acorns, and you see
looks like they're running off with those acorns.
But one of them's flying away. One of those acorns is flying away. Now, this is the cabin sleeps 6. This is a queen bed, and then there's the twin bunks. But there's so many Disney details in here, which is really fun. You've got Chip and Dale on these really nice portraits above the bed. And then we're looking now at those bunk beds, and those paddles, which you'll probably see, are inspired by Disney characters.
And I love this little touch you're about to see. November 19th, that's actually the day Fort Wilderness opened in 1971.
Right, and it is also inspired by an animated short called Winter Storage from Chip and Dale, which I think is very cool.
And there's Chip. Looks like he's having a little siesta there, and I believe we're about to see a sleeping Donald.
Right, you see Donald's feet coming out of the tent. So I think this is really fun. Kids will probably really enjoy this.
And I love this little tribute. There is a tribute to Donald up there on these paddles.
And then also Mickey, Pluto, and Minnie. And it reminds me when you go to Disney Lookout Key, how the merchandise is inspired, but it isn't exactly like the characters. And we'll see something like that in the bathroom as well.
And we're also going to take a look at some of the amenities here. You have a remote control. You have the TV. This is very nice. You have some classic...
And Hey Disney.
And the new Hey Disney. That's right.
And but you have the television. You have a little bitty closet here. So, but at least it's something. I think there's not a bad amount of storage in the room. It's not too bad. And so we have a little bit more really woodsy inspired, camping inspired artwork.
And I see a little reference to River Country, which I used to go to as a kid. I used to love River Country.
But also Pioneer Hall and many other locations. So that artwork that we're not looking at now is inspired by the 1938 short Mickey's Trailer. And so you see that trailer, which is also part of that. I don't know why they're not sleeping in the trailer, because I would probably be sleeping in the trailer instead of in a hammock. But Mickey's on the hammock, and then you've got Pluto, and then Chip and Dale on top with that apple.
See ya in the morning.
Eat an apple, yes. And now we're heading to the bathroom, right?
That is right. Bathroom. We're going to take a look at I like this, how there is a second sink outside the bathroom, which is kind of like Disney Cruise. Very nice. So 2 people can be cleaning up. You could, for me, I'd be shaving or whatever out here.
Right. So I mean, that's certainly a nice touch, especially if you have 6 in the room.
Right.
You really need that. But there is one bathroom, 1 shower.
And I like the high ceilings here, and I like having, you can look out the window and you see the woods. There's a lot. I do like all the extra windows in these cabins versus the old ones.
And you get the not called H2O products anymore, just as you do in any other Disney.
Same, recipe,
it's the same.
Right?
Yes, it's the same. But I don't know that they have a name. But it used to be H2O, and also we'll see that on the wall. The shower looks really nice, but you see that sea marine type shampoo.
That's the one I used.
Yes.
I used it today.
And conditioner and all, yeah, and body wash.
So we're going to step out and look at there's a little more of homages that we're about to see.
So while this it's still in the restroom. You can see Mickey and Pluto and everybody, just like what we saw with the paddles. And now we see Chip and Dale, who really are kind of like the mascots of Fort Wilderness, enjoying some archery.
You've done the archery.
Yes, I did it like 15 years ago, and I wrote about it. And more than 15 years ago, it's been a long time.
Time goes by fast.
And I did the Segway tour back then as well.
So now we've opened up all the curtains just to kind of demonstrate how things can look really open up. I think it's great. I love this, having all the windows.
Well, I asked you to open the curtains because I want to see what it would look like. And it's almost like, walking out of your tent and just opening up your tent and seeing the woods. And I really this is one of my favorite aspects of the whole cabin is those floor to ceiling windows.
And of course, like all the campsites, you have a grill out there. So you can do a little cooking on the grill and have a little lunch or a little dinner here.
And then you have your deck, and then there's you have 2 chairs and then the benches, and you have little Mickey cutouts in the chairs. And I thought they really did a nice job with these cabins. If I didn't, from the concept art, I wasn't sure I would like them, but I did really like them. I enjoyed the amount of time we got to spend in them.
And our next stop was the Tricircle D Ranch. Now, we've spent a lot of time in the ranch before, but we had an excellent tour, and it was really the whole day kind of went together because of the theming of the cabin to go right to the ranch. It just felt perfect. And this horse here kind of stole the show. As she was telling us all this stuff, all of a sudden the horse came out and
Grady. Grady the horse.
Yeah, well, Grady really stole the show. I enjoyed that.
And I really love the Tricircle D Ranch. I don't know if everybody remembers, but maybe 4 years ago, there was this has been an upgraded ranch. There was a different one that was much smaller. So they really opened it up. So it's very enjoyable to visit. This is I believe it's a 1908 Calliope. They also have new signage for it. So you can learn about this historic Calliope that Walt Disney himself ended up bringing to Disneyland.
So our last stop of our day here was fishing on Bay Lake. And let me tell you, that was an amazing experience. We had never done it in my 50 plus years of visiting Fort Wilderness. I've not done the fishing excursion, and it was wonderful.
It was like one of the only things probably you've never done at Fort Wilderness.
Yeah, I've done Marshmallow Marsh, I've done River Country, everything, backyard barbecue, you name it, but this is one thing I'd never done, and it was really great.
And I've only been really visiting Fort Wilderness regularly for like 30 years. And this is also something I've never done. And I have not fished since I was like 5. So
you're getting a crash course here.
Yeah, so over 50 years ago. And I never used like a fishing pole like this. I think like when I was a kid, I used a stick and a rope and some bread because I didn't want to hurt the worms.
Well, here this is luxury fishing because he'll put the worm on. Look at this.
I was afraid it was going to bite me.
Yeah, he's telling you just stand like this, and you don't even look. You're smart enough not to look and see what he's doing. But you caught that fish, and you were the first one. There was just the 3 of us. We had our friend Rhino from the Diz also on the boat with us, but you caught the first fish.
And I wouldn't touch the fish after.
Yeah, he had to give you that little wrench thing to hold the fish. And but you did great. I mean, that was a really big bass there. And then I was also fishing.
Then you caught the next one?
Yep. So I was able to catch one, which was, it was really fun to do it. I mean, you only have the fun part. All the hard stuff, like taking the fish off the hook, putting
the fish on the little fish on the hook and everything. That is, they do that. And plus, they have Coke drinks and stuff. I actually have friends who do this like when they come and really love doing the fishing. And the thing I loved most was actually being out here in nature. I caught my one fish and I just sat and I just watched the birds and such. I didn't see any otters, but they're out there, and I just love being out there.
And here
and
I
there
am.
You are. Congratulations on your fish. It
was perfect because we all were able to catch a fish in order, so it was you and then me and then Rhino caught his, and that 45 minutes flew by. We normally they do a 2-hour tour
and 4 hours, so they have a 2-hour and a 4-hour excursion.
Oh, and I should say, of course, it's catch and release, and I'm releasing the bass back into the Bay Lake.
Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was a kid, I always worried about, there's Rhino, about the fishes, and like I can't imagine they love being caught, but at least they get to go back.
Right.
And that's the best part.
And on our way back, we had a chance to take a look at this is where the boat dock used to be for Discovery Island, used to be Treasure Island, and that's a place where I did go many times.
And I went too. I enjoyed Discovery Island. It was really something unique. I wish I had gone even a little more often.
And beyond this tree with all the shoes, behind that's where River Country would have been. And again, another favorite of mine growing up. So this was very nostalgic, but a great time, a learning time.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up going back to Pioneer Hall for a little reception, and they had some art going on here with the cabins in the background. Very nice.
Right. It was nice to have air conditioning again.
Yes, because it's been very hot.
It's been very hot here, and even at Fort Wilderness, where you have a lot of tree cover, even yesterday it felt very warm, but it was certainly better than EPCOT because you have, you're out in nature with the trees and such. It really helps.
Yeah, it's been really great for me and you, I think, to be able to spend all this time at Fort Wilderness over the last few days, because of course it's a tradition every year. You said this was our 15th year of covering the parades, the golf cart parade, and then of course the full day we had on July 1st. So already I can't wait to go back to Fort Wilderness.
And I just want to mention, like I had mentioned to Jeff, maybe we should throw in some vintage, which he didn't do. But remember, like the Fess Parker, I don't remember.
We've had that in another show,
right? You saw Fess Parker and photographed him in Trails End or Crockett's Tavern.
It's actually Crockett's Tavern because he played Davy Crockett back in the 50s. So, and that's why I think 1955 is when they say it's established, because that's when that TV show was.
But back then
and Disneyland too.
It was a steakhouse, you told me, because
fine dining.
Yes.
Yeah, in the early days in the 90s, it was still fine dining, and we were told anyway from the servers back then that Frank Wells and Michael Eisner used to come there. Nobody would bother them, and they would have really great steaks and really good food. So, it's still great dining, but it's a little different now. It's more of a casual dining, not a fine dining place.
And we did eat there. We had, I had a burger.
I had a burger also.
Right, and they had really good dessert, though. Those dessert,
the dessert was amazing with the strawberry shortcake. Oh, the s'mores?
Yeah,
I would
was
highly
really
recommend
good.
that.
So it's like $12, and you get these little jars, and those were delicious. And I think that Trails End, before it stopped, when it was doing family style, had something similar to that as well.
And believe it or not, that is another show. We want to thank our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
Yes, head to their website, fill out a no-obligation quote for anywhere you want to go. It doesn't have to be Fort Wilderness. It can be any Disney resort. They are also not only Disney specialists, they are Universal specialists. And especially right now, Becky is on like cruise after cruise. Like right now she's on Royal Caribbean talking about that Coco Key. It sounds amazing.
Well, what's coming up this year is the Disney Treasure will debut by the end of the year.
So head to the MEI and Mouse Fan Travel website. They can help you with wherever you need to go, and it doesn't even have to be cruises and such. But Becky is cruising like all year long, pretty much, unless she's going to it like a Disney park and such.
And once again, we do want to apologize for the delays in our shows. Denise has taken a little bit longer with her voice to get better. It still is a tiny bit under the weather. We're feeling great. It's just waiting for the voices to catch up. It's very hard to do these type of shows with the voice crackling like it has been.
After the media events we did, almost immediately we got sick, and we did not test positive for COVID, so I don't know what we had, but it
bronchitis is what our doctor said.
Well, at least by week 2, and so it's taken quite some time. It's been like 2.5 weeks now, or 3 weeks since.
Yeah, we like to keep on mostly a weekly schedule, and we will going forward. I think we've turned the hurdle.
But you never know, like like, hopefully we won't get sick again soon.
And we still have that the DreamWorks show that we need to talk about, and that'll be coming up. That's ready to go, so we'll record that and get that out soon.
Yeah, unless we have something else coming up.
It's going to be a busy week because this week we're going to have the Country Bears. We're going to be having a preview of the Country Bears. And that'll be an all-new show, so we're very excited about that. And spending some more time at the Magic Kingdom. Plus, we're really looking forward to getting out to Universal to seeing the new mega movie parade, which looks amazing. It's only happened once because it was canceled due to weather last night. But I can't wait to see that and record that and talk about that.
Maybe Monday. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully the weather will cooperate and we can get out there and see it for next week. So thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.